I'm gonna start with this one. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Let us know if you can't hear us or if you have any problems. This is a huge learning curve for everyone. But thank you all for joining. It's so exciting to see everybody. So welcome to Art with Change. It's a 24-hour virtual fundraiser supporting the Downtown Arts District. Can y'all hear us? Can we be heard? Yeah. I think I'm unmuted. So we're live at CityArts right now until 12 p.m. tomorrow. So we're raising money for the Downtown Arts District and CityArts. So a lot of people don't realize we're like the same company. So that's why we keep saying that. But take it away, Barbara.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We are excited to be here for 24 hours. Someone just reminded me it's actually more like 48 hours because we have been up already for quite a few hours. But at any rate, I just want you to know that we're so grateful for our arts community, and the Downtown Arts District mission is to lead, stimulate, and guide the development of a vibrant, innovative arts and cultural district that enhances the economic development in downtown Orlando. So thank you for being a part of the art scene.
This is really fun for all of us, guys. But so some interesting facts about Downtown Arts District. Even though with all of the struggles of COVID-19 at the Downtown Arts District, surprisingly, we were still able to serve 745 artists. We hung 2,517 works of art, and we generated $92,599 in art sales in 2020. So it's major snaps like to us, and like, guys, this is our team. So when we say we hung 2,517 works of art, that is us with our incredible intern Ryan and lots of wonderful volunteers and guest curators who help us make all of this happen. And also shout out to our art patrons. $92,000 in art sales during a pandemic is incredible. That means the people who are able to support artists really came out and showed up for us. So, you know, lots of props to everyone who support like the arts community.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do. So we are CityArts, and we're housed right now in the Rogers Keeney building. We moved here at the end of 2018, and we did some renovations. And this is the oldest, most historic wooden building in the heart of downtown. It's the big green 2-story building. If you're not familiar, and if you're not familiar, you should come down and see it. So in this gallery, we have 7 galleries. So the big gallery downstairs is our signature gallery A. If you would like to sponsor that, come give us some money. We'll put your name on it. It is the one that you see the most because it's on the downstairs floor. We have some art in our cafe. It's curated by Peterson Guerrero with red tape. And it's beautiful, just really nice one wall right now. And soon the cafe will be open. And if you want to donate some money for that, let us know. Upstairs, we have 5 galleries. And we have the signature gallery B, which is the really big space that used to be the movie theater, if you're familiar with this building at all. We have the Spotlight. It's now the Mahesh Family Foundation Spotlight Gallery. And that's where we have 12 artists that we handpick that work with us for years, and they get one single solo show a year, but their art hangs throughout the year in our Spotlight hallway. And then we have the YAG, the Magic YAG Gallery, which is for our young artists age 15 to like 20. And they get to come in and show their art for free. Of course, you know, we do take our percentage of that, but it's a great way for them to grow. We've had some really fabulous artists grow into amazing artists that are now pretty well world renowned. So it's a great space. And then let's not forget Redefine, which is also upstairs. They do more of, you know, I would say urban art. You know, it's really urban. It's really cool. They do a great job with that. And then, which this takes us to our programming. And, you know, we change the art every 30 days. So on the 3rd Thursday of each month, we have a new show. And we have our 3rd Thursday opening night reception. So you should come to that.
And it's all online.
Yeah, we do it. Yeah, we do it online. You can see all of them if you haven't and still are not comfortable coming down, you can come do that. Hey, I want to do, before I pass this on to the other program, I'm going to do big shout out to my friends Bill and Jeff with County Argyle, who brought us some really fabulous donuts this morning. So it's from the Salty.
They brought us donuts from the Salty Donut.
Yeah, it's so awesome. They're great friends and great supporters. So thank you guys. And I'm going to pass it on.
We already got a couple donations too.
Yeah, I'm actually, that's what I'm pulling up right now. So I just wanted to show people where we're at. Hold please. Technology is complicated. Let me give this a try right here. Okay. I think this is going to work.
There you go.
Cool. This is where we are. So here's our thermometer. We are already looking good. I started it off just to make sure that it was working properly. And so throughout the day, as people are donating to us, yay, Donald McCloskey, yay, Valerie Kelly, yay, Brian Murch. These are all of our artists, which is incredible. So we already are off to a great start. But let's go back a little bit to kind of what we do here at the Downtown Arts District. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen right here.
And we're going to try to raise $208 every hour, which will get us to our $5,000 goal. Yeah, $5,000 to us, that's obviously huge. So we really hope that people can give throughout the day. So other programs that we do, and you'll hear a little bit more from both of these programs. First, we have the In Between series that we do in partnership with the Timucua Arts Foundation. And we're going to do a little presentation from In Between series later at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So really in like our 23rd hour of going live. It'll be really fun. Join in for that one. And that's a really awesome creative music program. We've been doing it out in the courtyard lately to make it like extra safe for the community. And we love our partnership with Timucua Arts Foundation. We also have Orlando Story Club, which is, well, before pandemic, a quarterly storytelling event that took place at the Abbey.
but it has a theme every time, and we have storytellers that come up, but they are going to be presenting at 8 o'clock. So live storytelling at 8, of course, with our incredible hosts, Bobby Wesley and Danielle Ziss.
And we also partner with Bloomingdale's. They have an art gallery that we curate on the 3rd floor. So check it out when you stop by there. Go see the local artists who are showcased on the 3rd floor in the furniture section. And once a year, we do an art stroll throughout Bloomingdale's in the Millennial Mall. So Millennia.
Whatever it's called.
Millennia. Dia de los Muertos is also a signature event, and it gets kicked off every year with a monster party. This year during COVID, it was quite different. We did get good feedback. We did a dining experience outdoors that was safe for everyone who attended. So it was dinner and entertainment, and then we did 2 shows, and we're able to still showcase the art by appointment. And another event that we've done throughout the years is inside the artist studios. We've had wonderful artists throughout the years, and we'll be showing some of the videos of that in the wee hours. So stay tuned, stay with us 24 hours if you can.
Yeah, and then, those are in the wee hours, the 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So if any of you are up, you can watch those awesome artist talks at that time. But other things that we do, we obviously do fundraisers for the Downtown Arts District pre-COVID-19. The La Mascara Celebration of the Arts, which is an annual celebration at the Abbey. It's always themed, and it's a great time. We have been doing it for like 16 years?
Yeah,
16 years. So it's
plus.
Awesome. And then we also created this new event called Art After Dark, which is a soiree for young professionals at CityArts.
Who are we, Barbara?
Who are we? We've been talking to you for a while, but who are we?
So if you don't know our staff by now, we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Barbara Hartley, the Executive Director of the Downtown Arts District, and we're here at CityArts.
I'm Kat Quast. I'm the Operations and Events Manager here at CityArts. So if you want to be an artist or you want to rent the gallery, I'm your girl.
Yeah. And then I'm Ha'ani Hogan. I'm the Development and Marketing Manager here at Downtown Arts District. So why are we doing this event? We are doing this to raise money for Downtown Arts District through the United Arts of Central Florida Collaborative Campaign for the Arts. And it's super easy. A way to give is you can text DAD to 71777, or you can click a link that I'm going to eventually put into the chat when I have a chance to do that. And we already went through the thermometer, and we're going to be checking it and sharing the screen throughout the day. And also major shout out to Orlando Fringe. They are good friends to Downtown Arts District, and they are the organization that kind of inspired us to do it. So for 2 years, they've already been doing their 24-hour give-a-thon. And I've, tuned in every year for that, and I'm obsessed with that. And it really inspired us to think out of the box and kind of do our own version of a 24-hour event. So thank you.
We were guests.
Oh yeah, we've been guests. We did Story Club for an hour.
It was so much fun.
And it was so fun because it was during quarantine, but it was a blast. And we love Orlando Fringe. So thank you guys for inspiring us to do this.
Wait, I thought it was Jerry Lewis.
Well,
I thought we were doing the Jerry Lewis.
So the Jerry Lewis thing is actually
actually
really funny because my parents keep asking me what phone number they can call to donate to this event, and I'm like, oh, mom and dad, it's a text message. We are not. It's not a telethon. It's not a telethon. We modern day.
We could do the text bank instead of the phone.
That's true. That's true. So another fun thing that we're doing, obviously donations are a charitable gift that you give, but we're doing this fun activity called Mystery Donor. So right now we are going to randomly select 10 numbers between 1 and 50 to be our mystery donors. And the number donor in our list of donors will win a free prize provided by us. So these prizes are different things like our Swan Warhol t-shirt that we're wearing. We have our Dia de los Muertos t-shirts. We have awesome art prints donated by artists and so much more. Oh, drink tickets to Third Thursday if you want to come out to Third Thursday. So anyway, we're going to pick those numbers because we're running out of time for our introductions. Barbara.
Ooh, I will do the honor. How many numbers?
10.
One.
Do two.
Oh, here's 4.
Okay, 26. We will inform people what their number is.
20.
Number 20.
48.
Wow, 48. So someone later in the
13.
day. 13.
7.
7.
No,
We
we
might
need
already have
5 more?
7. Yeah,
5
5 more.
Okay, let's see. 8 and 43.
Okay,
2 more.
3 more?
2. Right?
3 more.
3 more. Oh, sorry. I can't
15.
count. I can't
Number
count.
15.
15.
47.
47.
44.
Wow, that's
So,
it. That's it.
That's
All right, everyone. So if you're donor number 7, 8, 13, 20, 26. Oh, my bad. I missed 15. 48, 43, 47, and 44.
You get a
We will
prize.
let you know if you're that number, but you get a prize. And I skipped something. If you donate to us, our incredible intern, Ryan Price, is an MFA at UCF. He has so graciously created these super cool original sketches that we're giving to every single person who donates to this campaign through this 24-hour event. So in your thank you letter, you also get a super cool
Original.
sketch by Ryan, who is also joining us at 7 o'clock later today.
And good news, we're starting out with a matching gift. Yay! Our board member, Eva Kraswinski, is matching the first $300 that's donated to us through this in this hour. So thank you, Eva. We appreciate you and all you do. And now we're going to bring on our guest, Thomas Chapman from the Downtown Development Board
It's my
and
cute.
CRA.
Bye,
Cool.
guys. See you later.
Bye. Thomas is coming on.
He's coming on. Just be 1 minute, everyone. There's
Hi, Thomas. How are
Thomas.
you? Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Barbara. You and the whole crew down at
I
Downtown.
know the big crew that we have.
Thank you for inviting us in. So you guys are up 24 hours, huh?
Or 48, as you reminded me.
Well, thanks for allowing us to participate, and good luck with Art with Change. We certainly want to be supportive. So we appreciate this opportunity to talk about something as important and as fun, you know, as the arts are in to downtown. So it's your show. I'm going to follow your lead, but and certainly any questions that you all have, I'm happy to.
Absolutely. So we wanted to have you talk a little bit about the Downtown Development Board and the CRA. Most people may or may not know this, but your organization was instrumental in creating the Downtown Arts District, and we're very grateful for all you do for the arts. So tell us a little bit about your role and your job and what the DDB and CRA do for the community.
Okay. Well. Thanks. My title is Executive Director of the Downtown Development Board / Community Redevelopment Agency. Those are two separate entities legally, but they work collaboratively with one common staff, quite frankly. And we are a division of the Economic Development Department here at the City of Orlando. And so all of that actually fits on a business card. I promise you it does. It's we get it on there. And so as you said, Barbara, we go way back with not only the arts, but with Dad in particular. My job obviously is to oversee a wonderful staff of people who deal with all things downtown, everything from cleaning the sidewalks and planting the plants and the trees and maintaining that, to being involved in very complex commercial real estate transactions, and making sure that we continue to build out downtown. The built environment is what we want it to be, as well as the programming within that area. So all things downtown. Our boundaries, we have very definitive boundaries. Basically, to the west, we go to Westmoreland. To the east, we go to Summerlin. To the south, we go to Gore. And up north, we're mostly along 50 Colonial, but we do go a little further north of Colonial up around Lake Ivanhoe. And so 1,640 acres is technically our area, which includes obviously Thornton Park and the Central Business District and Paramore and other areas within downtown. So it's a great position. It's a great job. I wouldn't have another one. I don't see it as a job. It's the love of my life. You know, as you know, Barbara's being a friend. I live in downtown. I live right across the street from where you are. And so I'm walking around. So I live here, I work here. And the pandemic has at least allowed us to still walk around outside, right? And so as I do that from time to time, I'm peering in the windows of the Rogers Keeney building of CityArts. And it's always, it brings a smile on my face to see what you all are exhibiting, you know, the talent that you exhibit from our community and what that brings here. And I can remember, it just seems like yesterday we were doing a dedication of the Rogers Keeney building, that wonderful gift from that wonderful man, Ford Keeney. And so you guys have put, I mean, transitioning as you did, and my hat's off to you for that. But no one better to take on that building and live within that building and strive within that building than the Downtown Arts District, based on the fact that Ford Keeney, as you know, is perhaps the paternal patron of the arts in this area, but he is certainly a major patron of the arts. So it's all poetic, and we're happy to see it, and glad to be an ongoing and supporter of the Downtown Arts District.
Well, thank you, Thomas. Ford Keeney was one of our first chairs of our board as well. I don't know if you knew that. It's definitely before your time. You've been with the DDB now for 14 years this month, right?
Yeah, yes. In fact, next week will begin the beginning of my 15th year. I came in February 2007. And one of the people that was, in fact, the board chair at that time was Jennifer Quigley, who, of course, was very close to Fort Keeney, as you know, and was very also instrumental, I think, in creating the Downtown Arts District. And of course, Jennifer has been, just a major force in the arts within this community. Oh, absolutely, for a period of time. So I'm proud to count Ford and Jennifer amongst my closest friends here, and people that have supported me and have directed me and guided me, and whom I appreciate a great deal.
That's wonderful. I remember, Thomas, when I met you back in 2006. I think you had just gotten a job, or was it 2006? 2006.
Okay.
And you were talking about your background and your love of music. So you're a musician?
Yeah, I am. You know, I'm shy to talk about it now because it's been so long since I practiced or performed, but I am a musician. I do have a lifelong love of music. I was taught music and to read music and be a musician originally in the 4th grade by a woman whose Zoom funeral I attended on Monday. Her name was Richardine Blunt Chadwell, and she lived to be 93 years old, and she passed away last week in Birmingham, Alabama. And her son actually is my lifelong best friend. We met in kindergarten. They left town and moved to a different state. We then roomed together later. We met up at college and were roommates, and we've just been lifetime friends. And so Mrs. Chadwell passed away, and the funeral was Zoomed on Monday, and I attended that. But she taught me music in the 4th grade to read it and appreciate it. And I've been a musician ever since. I used to play professionally. It's been a long time ago. I wouldn't embarrass myself now by performing in front of anyone, but I loved it. And the entire time that I did it actually between high school and college in the 70s. And the entire time that I did it, I would simply put it this way: nothing gave me more satisfaction. That was my high, was performing music. And it would take me away. Any problems that I had, any challenges, anything that was unpleasant when I started performing, all that went away. So I have a lifelong love of the arts in general, but particularly I live for music, yes.
Well, you have to come to our Independence series. We've been doing it outdoors in partnership with the Temecula Arts Foundation. So join us sometime for that. It's the Monday before third Thursdays. So when I met you, the city was talking about art and the importance of art in economic development. Talk to us a little bit about, what you've seen over the years, and why is it so important for art in our cities, and how does that add to the vibrancy and to the economic development?
It means everything, brother. And I say that to you, that you know that, and to the people that follow an organization like yours probably tend to know that. But let me say in no uncertain terms, I mean, sure, a big part of what we have to do here is try to induce investors to invest. And that's how you get the high-rise buildings and then the office buildings and mixed-use buildings and residential buildings and all of that. But make no doubt about it, what's special about any downtown is its vibrancy. It's not the buildings, but it's what happens in those buildings. And that's, of course, what the human activity there. So having an active, vibrant downtown starts and ends with the arts. I mean, if you think about it, if you pull the arts out, if you pull the performing arts out, and you pull the passive arts out, if you pull all of that out, what do you have? And you have a place that becomes then sterile and is not very invigorating and enticing for people to come. So art, as you look at, from an economic development standpoint and even general standpoint, has the power to not only impact the community by inspiring and connecting folks together and provoking, but also by spurring growth, attracting new visitors and residents. People want to be in an area where they can enjoy themselves by immersing themselves within some form of the arts. And that's what I said at the beginning of it. I mean, you guys live a charmed life because your entire existence is within an industry that brings happiness and joy, so having arts. And so the way that manifests itself when we're talking to developers from other cities and other states or even other countries and whatnot, and they're looking at the potential to develop and the opportunity to invest in downtown Orlando, it is always one of the topics of discussion is what is your arts community? And so we're able to then start to talk about the downtown arts district. And we're talking about the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. And we talk about the fact that we now have, through the Creative City Project, a major annual event called Immerse that is just legendary. And we talk about Fusion Fest and its diversity and the things. So, and then we talk about Mad Cow Theater, that we have local theater at the highest level of quality. We can sit in an intimate setting and get a professional performance and enjoy it the way we do. So I mean, there's a lot there, but yes, that discussion of the presence of and the activity level of the arts within our downtown is always a component of the pertinent discussion to entice further investment in our area. Very important to us what you all do. So thank you so much for it.
Thank you. And we absolutely agree. I've seen a lot of change in the few years that I've been here at the Downtown Arts District. Obviously, the Performing Arts Center was not there when I started. So it feels like it's been there forever. And we so appreciate all they do. There's been a lot of change during COVID. What's different for you all? And if people want to find out more about what you're doing, where can they go to get information on all the great events that you guys help to support?
Okay, so I mean, obviously we have a major web presence, downtownorlando.com, and you can go there and really, it's very, very user friendly. And we have a marketing and communications team that are stellar, that handle all of that and make sure that that's kept up to date in conjunction with the city's communications team as well. And so I would encourage your followers to go there. In fact, as I'm surfing around, I see you posting on various social platforms, Barbara, and visiting exhibits around the state and whatnot. So we keep up with you even when you don't know it. But the arts are fundamental to a vibrant downtown. Back in 2015, as you know, we ended up with what's called Project DTO, Advancing Downtown Orlando, which is our vision plan. It's the newest iteration of it. And the mayor charged us very simply to create the highest quality urban environment in the nation. And to chart the path to creating that. And so that path was charted through Project DTO. Within that initiative, there were several big ideas that came out of that, but foremost among those was creating a creator culture, which is exactly what you all do. You cultivate that creator culture. We see it in your exhibits every day, bringing stellar music, arts, sports, and entertainment into our downtown. So that was very much at the forefront of what that 100 people that worked together for about 15 months on envisioning what they wanted downtown, what we want downtown to be. So it's central to us, and we continue to check those boxes and to achieve those goals, that was set forth by Project DTO. So the arts are a central and threshold part of it, and will continue to be as we continue building the highest quality urban environment in the nation, right here in downtown Orlando.
Well, thank you for all you've done in your organization to continue to have the vision and to create a better environment in downtown. We love the creative villages now down here. As I-4 is getting built out, there's a lot of great public art being installed and plans for installing more. Is there anything else you want to add to that? And you've also helped to incubate really cool events like the Creative City Fusion Fest. You helped us out with Art and On Places.
Oh yeah, how can I forget Art and Odd Places? I was telling you earlier, Bob. I mean, when you first did that in 2015, the first time I ventured outside of my condo after having major surgery and undergoing a major medical stuff, the first time I actually went out was to enjoy Art in Odd Places, and I didn't have the strength to do it, but I made my way down Magnolia one block at a time, and I took my time, and it was absolutely invigorating. It was a beautiful day, and you got to interact with the artists on the spot, and so they could tell you, the inspiration behind the exhibit you were seeing, and I'll never forget that. And I wouldn't miss it because, of course, you had told me all about it, and no one can sell an event better than Barbara Hunt and get. And I'll simply say this: your spirit, Barbara, and I remember when you first came in. Of course, I've known you before then. Your spirit is infectious in a very, very positive way. And so your leadership and with the team that you have at DAD is absolutely essential and so appreciated by so many people. Thank you for what you're doing. I want to say to everybody who's looking, text DAD to 71777.
All right.
We need to pump that up. So we want to do that, and I'll make this pledge to you, Barbara, offline. Let's get together. Let's see how far you exceed your goals, but also let's talk about in the future how the DDB and the CRA can be even more supportive of our downtown arts district. We're happy to do that. I look forward to that conversation.
Thank you. We're looking forward to many more projects together with the DDB and CRA. And if our viewers have not been to the Information Center, that's pretty cool also. Very supportive of local creatives. And we appreciate the downtown ambassadors. That's been really helpful for us over the years. So thank you.
Thanks for the plug. Discover Downtown, the intersection of Church and Orange is out, formerly known as the Downtown Information Center, a wonderful array of locally created and locally designed and produced retail products there. So it's a wonderful space. Visit Rose and her team anytime. We're happy. And the ambassadors everywhere. There are eyes and ears around day and night. And so we appreciate you folks mentioning them. I'm sure they appreciate that as well.
They're going to keep us safe tonight.
All right. Well, good.
Look for them.
Good luck.
Have a great day.
All right. Same to you. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And now
we have
Olson
Terry Olson and
Tali.
Tali. They are coming in.
Is it Talita?
Talita.
Talita, and
They're coming in.
everyone knows Terry Olson. He is the chief instigator,
Arts
instigator, or instigator of everything, everything arts. So Terry, thank you for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Hi. And Elizabeth Holly is getting ready to join us. But Terry is also the founder of so many cool projects in downtown, including the Downtown Arts District and SAC Comedy Lab and Fusion Fest. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did.
Fringe Festival.
Fringe.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I did miss it. And it's come such a long way.
Yes. So I was just watching you guys get started and you were having so much fun. I'm like, I wonder what they're going to be like at 4 a.m.
Oh,
Ready.
if you want a good chuckle, join in at 4 a.m. and see how we're doing.
Or come do yoga with us.
Oh yeah, we're doing yoga like crazy people at 9 a.m. Tomorrow, and an art class at 10. We got lots going on.
And there's a dance party at Wynn.
1 a.m.
And one can come down and participate in person.
Yes.
Just let us know.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking about it.
Terry loves a dance
You know
party.
what's funny, Terry? Multiple people have asked me if they could come for the dance party.
Yeah.
Dance
I'm
party.
like, if you want to come at 1 a.m., then sure.
Yeah.
That's when it's happening.
I'll set my alarm to wake up.
So we have a fun little trivia here. We ran into Tolly at the Dolly Museum. How crazy is that? So you have to make reservations, and the staff went kind of as a belated holiday outing. And 2:30, we were right behind them in line with, who else was there? From
Francesca with the
Francesca,
DDB.
yes,
Yeah.
from the DDB. So it was pretty crazy, but so much fun.
That's
Yeah,
like
awesome.
last night I had a reservation for the 7 o'clock down the rabbit hole. And so did Haley, my assistant. So no coordination, but of all the times that evening, we were both at the same one.
That's so perfect. That's
Are you
hilarious.
supposed to divide and conquer?
I don't know.
Not.
I guess
Guess
not.
not.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you for joining us, guys. I mean, we wanted, obviously, Terry, we love having your institutional knowledge just about the arts in Orlando. But then also we look forward to sharing with all of our viewers about Fusion Fest. So what can you tell us about all that stuff?
Well, Fusion Fest happened as a festival the last 3 years, including this past year in a pandemic. So that was pretty crazy. But with the help of the Dr. Phillips Center, who's created their front yard festival with the social distanced audience boxes and all, we were able to do a festival, invite people down, thousands of people, not nearly the thousands that were there the year before. We couldn't handle that. We had a limit of 2,000 people at a time. And so it's pretty crazy. For those that don't know the festival, perhaps we can show a little video that kind of sums up this past year.
Yeah,
Tally, can you?
I certainly can. Hold on. Let me share my screen here. Oh,
The festival happens each November on Thanksgiving weekend. So on Thanksgiving Day, you can pig out and get all fat and then try to recuperate on Friday. And then Saturday come and for a free festival with lots of other good food options on that Saturday and Sunday.
okay. Am I good to go? Can I hit play?
I think so.
Yep, you're on.
2020 Fusion Fest. We are live here in Orlando, Florida.
Welcome to Fusion Fest in Orlando. We have music, we have dance, we have spoken word and literature and poetry.
We have food. We have fashion.
Everything fused together from cultures all over.
Welcome to Fusion Fest, Orlando.
We worked so hard to make this festival for you, and I hope you have a wonderful, diverse-tastic day at Fusion Fest.
I love that term, diverse-tastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Terrible.
Fusion Fest is really about making the most of an incredible asset that we have here in Central Florida. Not only are we a crossroads of the world with visitors from all over the world, but we have an incredibly diverse community. In fact, a recent study showed that by 2030, we may very well be the most diverse city in the world. So with all of that creative input from different cultures, if we can come together and influence each other, get to know each other, we will be that innovative city that can really influence the world. And we want to show the world that people of different ethnicities, cultures, heritages, lifestyles can live together on a basis of respect and love, as opposed to fear and hate, which is common and easy. And so, especially in this very divided world, we haven't touched the political realm, but maybe we can even show the people of different political views can live together with respect and love, because it's a much better world. I mean, who wants to live in a world of hate and distrust and fear? So that's kind of what the festival is about. But even more than that, it's about fun. It's about fun and food and all kinds of things. There's 20 different elements, I think, that we have at the festival.
And one of the things I really love as well is that you get so many different types of artists involved. So they're sharing their traditions, but you're also crossing like all the different genres, you know, from film to dance to fashion to literature. And I think it's really wonderful that you're able to bring it all together and share those experiences. We're especially proud of you all as being the fiscal agent for 3 years. Now you have your own letter of designation and your own not-for-profit for this year. And we're looking forward to really great things moving forward. Is there anything you want to share that's different or new coming up? You have the meals, is that monthly, where you do the different?
The Diversitastic dining.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, before that, I want to give you all a shout out for, you know, not only being our fiscal agent, but all the work within the visual arts gallery, that it's always impeccable. And it was a learning process for us as well. And I think each year it kept getting better. And we're looking forward to keeping our partnership for this year as well, as we highlight all the visual artists and the multimedia artists here from Orlando with, you know, a different heritage. So thank you so much for helping put that together for us.
Yes, the Downtown Arts District has been a great incubator, not an official program, but we're not the only organization that you have helped foster from the beginning to become an organization on its own, such as like the Creative City Project. So thanks for that. And before we go on too, I want to also say to any artists that are listening, visual artists, musical artists, writers, designers, chefs, that we have contests for Fusion, $1,000 of prizes in each of those areas. So we want to encourage the inspiration from mixing one culture with another. You can fuse something. If you can put a swing band with Japanese taiko drums, you might win $1,000. Or more simple, in dance, if you take some Irish step dance and add some hip hop to it, or a number of things like that. If you take some spices from the Caribbean and add them to a European dish, you might win $1,000. So I want to put that out there. And then we can move on to many of the things that we're doing year round. So Tally, did you want to tell them about perhaps our Diversitastic dining?
Yeah, sure. Let me share here. We have our updated website up now, and we have all our offerings, year-round offerings here on the website now. And I'm just so excited. Of course, the festival is the most exciting thing, but I just love that we have a weekly offering right now. So it's called Diverse Orange. So Terry goes live every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. with a guest, and they talk about culture, they talk about representation and all the fun things that they get to do here in Orlando, like their projects. So that's been really awesome every Tuesday through Facebook Live. And then our monthly event, Diversitastic Dining, that we started last year in January with Ethiopian food and restaurant at the Nile. It went great.
I think, do we lose?
Golly.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, I can keep talking. Can you hear me?
That's perfect.
Hopefully she can reboot. Go ahead, Terry.
So yes, so each month we take a deeper dive into a particular culture through especially the food, but it also includes entertainment and conversation with usually the chef, people from that heritage, to get to know that culture more. Our most recent one was the Italy experience. And
Hold out.
if Tally comes back, we could even show a little video about that.
There she is.
So Tally, I was just explaining things and saying maybe you could show them the wrap-up video from the Diversitastic Dining Italy experience that we just did in January.
I certainly can, yes. Open this. Sorry, my internet went down for a second here. Sure, let me share what happened in our last Diversitastic Dining Italy edition. It was a sold out event. And again, we are keeping, I think it's important to stress that we are keeping all the safety protocols in place. We keep at 50% capacity so we can be socially distanced. And, you know, it's different from what we planned. I think that's what I was saying when I got cut off from my internet here. But if you go and you sit with your party, you don't sit with people you don't know. So parties stay together. But let me share our last dining event recap. We had the pleasure of having Opera Orlando bringing entertainment for us, and it was really, really fun. So let me share here.
Hey, buongiorno, buonanotte! Tonight we celebrate the heritage of Italy and Italian Americans who've made a mark here in this country. We got great food and wine, demonstration of mozzarella cheese making, Italian arias to be sung. So come on in. Every month we're doing a Diversitastic Dining with some different heritage from around the world. Our curator for that is Maria.
Thank you. So you guys are in for an incredible evening. Super excited to be here at Torna Tours tonight. That's Denny, he's the owner.
Basically, when you go to get a fresh mozzarella somewhere, this is how it's made, if it's made in-house.
The food is amazing. Everything is homemade and fresh. A beautiful charcuterie, a wonderful pasta, and then an amazing limoncello dessert. So love everything about it, and I truly can't wait for the next one to come up. So here comes China.
The most beautiful part that kind of catch my attention was the opera, because that was my first time enjoying it live.
It was excellent. And the curation, everybody talking about the different courses that we were having, fresh mozzarella. It was really a great experience.
Diversity is awesome!
So our next one is, we are, as was mentioned, we're going to explore China with a special menu created for us that's really it's got all kinds of things. It's very much a sampler kind of meal at Chengdu. Is that the way I pronounce it? We'll have a tiger dance. Might see some fireworks.
Lion
dance. And we'll learn a little bit more about the culture and why the Lunar New Year is celebrated and what that means. So, yep, that's some of the things we're doing.
So I'm sorry I missed the Italy Diversitastic Dining.
I know you have Italian.
Quickly,
She was born in Italy.
I was born in Vicenza, Italy, and my first opera that I saw was in Verona in a Colosseum that looks like the Roman Colosseum, and the opera was Turandot. It was lovely in 3 languages.
Wow.
Yeah, my father loved it, and my mom, who is 100% Italian, couldn't wait to get out. She's not an opera girl. She'd rather listen to rock and roll. In fact, I think she was mad at us for a day for taking her. But I love it, and I love the Orlando opera scene as well. You know, it's ebbed and flow over the years, and I'm so glad that we have the talent here that we have now. And then in August, I went to my birthday party at Diversitastic at the where was that? The Garden Theater.
Was that Pilar's? Yeah.
That was Pilar's Martini, yeah, and we were celebrating South Pacific Islands.
It was so fun.
Yes.
The food was good, and I love the dancing.
Yeah, I'm partial to it, but
Yeah.
biased. But that was so fun.
I think my favorite thing that night was when the chef actually was put on the spot, and then T, who's part of our steering committee and board now, she asked him to dance because that's his background, right? Before that's how he came here to Orlando, was to work for Disney as a Pacific Island dancer. And I mean, that was fantastic. And all of a sudden, the chef who was serving our food, explaining about the food, was doing this amazing traditional dance. So that was the highlight of the night for me.
And what was that pudding stuff that I ate? That was the first time I ate that. It was
Oh, poi.
Poi.
Poi. Did you guys like that? That was different.
I love
It
poi.
was like tart.
Yes.
Not everyone's jam. Not everyone's jam.
There was one place in Hawaii that I had poi that I don't know, it was a little bit different, and I actually had a second. I'm a like taste everything. I want to experience, but you know, to have some more, that's a very different thing. So
Yeah, Holly, what I loved about that too is it was also without intending to be a demonstration of a very like important cultural thing. If a family member or someone who you respect very much asks you to do something, you welcomely do it. And when she made that a point, right? Like,
yes, he said,
Malo didn't even flinch, right, when she asked for it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm from Guam, so my culture is very similar. I like using the term elder, but it really could be someone who's even like your peer. Asking you do it out of respect if they're asking you to help out.
Talk a little bit about the film and the competition. I feel like both of you being involved since the inception. I believe, Tali, you've been involved since the beginning of Fusion Fest.
Yeah.
What is maybe something surprising that you've learned from these cultural exchanges? You know, that you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that, or you appreciate it a little bit more because of the experience.
So many things. And fun fact, I was in the very first meeting. Hani and I were in the conference room across from Terry's office in the very first meeting in 2016. I think that was September or so, and a few other people. So yeah, I've been involved since the beginning as a volunteer, and then had the wonderful opportunity to come in and work first part-time and now full-time at Fusion Fest, and just been so grateful. I learn a lot, and I learn every day. Definitely, I love the visual arts gallery, but the migration films program, it's kind of my favorite, just because of learning, you know, not only about people's culture and how that plays out on their lives, but really their stories of migrating here. Not all of them are about that kind of journey, because some of them, you know, their parents did that journey, but then seeing the values played out in their lives, it's awesome. This last year's program, we had last films, I think a total of 13, Terry, 12.
11.
Yeah. But, yes.
Probably due to COVID and the pandemic, it's harder to get people out there to do films.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I think we're also narrowing down. We kind of have an internal guide of 10 different regions of the world, and we'd like to make sure we've got representation from all. So about 10 films a year, because we have over 50 now, and we are planning to actually use those assets, like tonight at the Orlando Museum of Art, which is the theme of, I forgot the
Onitsha.
They'll be playing on a loop our award-winning film from last year about Ola Bello. Ola is the owner of Flavors Nigerian Restaurant. And so she has a fun story, and she will be there and I'll be there. So if anyone can tear themselves away from your 24-hour thing and come to the Orlando Museum of Art, come say hi to us. We'll be there.
FaceTime us.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yes.
don't let anyone leave.
FaceTime us.
And we are another new monthly event. We are planning to have a Migration Films watch party on the second Tuesday of the month, but we're kicking it off on the 23rd of this month. So
one film at a time each month, or
one or two. We're planning for about a half hour kind of program. So the films are just like 3 to 5 minutes long. So we'll watch a film. We'll have the filmmaker there and the subject, and perhaps like what you were asking about something you got from it. One of the films I think in this first one will be of Elizabeth Huddleston, who
Elizabeth
Fullington, who her story of leaving her country and the drama of that really helped me appreciate that I didn't have to make my becoming an American in that way. So so anyway, I think her story will be there, and perhaps we'll have on the head of the Caribbean Cultural Association and other people who have come from Guyana. And we'll have some just conversation, kind of like we're doing here now. But it's something that everyone can view. And then we'll probably have another one as well. So we might have one or two, maybe 3 films, but try to keep it in about a half hour time period on the second Tuesdays, except for this month on the 23rd at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
On our toes. Well, thank you all for what you do and for being such great partners of ours. We love working with you and look forward to future Fusion Fest and all the great ideas that come out of it. And more food and films.
Yes, right.
Well, thank you. And so I am going right now to my text, and I'm texting to 71777 the word, what am I texting?
DAD.
DAD.
71777.
So we did get a couple.
Got my phone here too.
And that gives me a link so I can donate.
Yes.
Remix.
Our
Hey. Who did all of the beautiful design work for truly everything that we do. So we love Remix. And I mean, it's updating, but you know, it takes a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But cool.
Have fun at the museum tonight.
Thank you.
Art friends, hello, and we'll be at the next one with Eva Kraswinski, who is actually matching your donation, Terry.
Yes.
She's matching the first 300.
Yes. So we're super
There we
excited.
go.
You know what's so fun about, I'm really excited about the Diversitastic Dining China program because I'm obsessed with lion dancing. So I'm from Guam, and the school that I went to every year did a big celebration for Chinese New Year.
Mm-hmm.
And, multiple students, I went to a pretty international school, so a lot of the students at my school were Chinese and went to Chinese school after normal school, and multiple of them were in training to be like lion dancers. And so every year, our high school kids who were in training to be professional lion dancers for cultural programs would do a lion dance. It would be really fun to watch our peers do it. And also, fun fact, I follow multiple professional lion dancers on TikTok because I'm just obsessed with it. Like when they do it over water and like the stilts over water, it's incredible.
Impressive. Yeah.
They're so strong, and they're true performers and acrobats. And you don't even realize it's humans underneath the entire costume. It's beautiful. Yeah,
it's incredible.
One of my
fun fact. Our lion dance for the next Diversitastic Dining event on February 25th. The group is actually a group of high schoolers
Oh,
from
nice.
University High. Yeah, yeah.
So,
So
Cool.
I'm
tell me
excited.
how they can get tickets. So fusionfest.org.
Yep, you go to fusionfast.org, and then on the homepage, you will see all of our programs. And then if you click on Diversitastic Dining, it will take you to our landing page where you can choose if you want to go to China this month. I don't think we have tickets available up yet on the website for next month, which we'll be exploring Ireland as part of St. Patrick's Day celebration, but soon. Yeah, and just follow us on social media so you're tuned on everything we're doing. Again, we have a weekly, monthly, in-person, virtual, and annual event. So come be a part of what we do, because everything we do is like through collaboration. And we would love to have you come and help us and be part of our celebration.
Thank you. And Terry, your donation came through. Thank you so much. We've selected this awesome bubble blower design that's coming to you with a little turtle. And I have to put a note on it.
So that's from Ryan. He's in the MFA program, Ryan Price. He's our intern right now, but goes to UCF, and he's done original sketches on, I believe it's one of a kind paper.
I'm not sure, but
it's fancy paper.
Cool. Well, thank you both so much for joining us, and thank you for donating. It's so sweet of you. But we are ready for our next presentation. So, and then also plug, Terry is also going Facebook Live at 1:30. So, people want to be on multiple devices. We all have multiple devices. You can do it. I do it all the time.
What are you doing at 1:30?
Barbara.
Well, it'll be with Michael Wanzi, and it's another about a fundraiser, the Greater Orlando Performing Arts Relief, GoPAR, and Michael's the founder of that, so we'll be talking about that and that effort, which is raised and given considerable amount of money. I got an email from someone recently that said, I don't know if you know me, but I think you know my mom, and in this tough time, we've been having a rough time, and GoPAR contributed so we could pay our rent, and it really meant a lot.
Can you do us a favor? Can you type in our Facebook, the link to that, so artists can learn about it? If you don't know about GoPAR, it's helping with basic needs to artists, I believe only artists that are unemployed or that have been affected by COVID. So thank you for working on that, Terry.
Yep.
And send us a link and we'll share that as well.
Super cool.
Okay, dope.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you. Bye, Terry. Bye, Terry.
Don't do anything weird. Bye, Terry. Thank you.
All right. So our next program, we are doing something super fun. We're so excited for this. We are welcoming Frank Billingsley, Richard Forbes, and Heather Bonds. It'll be just a minute. It takes a minute to get everyone to join in. We see Richard. We see Heather.
Hello.
And eventually.
Hello.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Hey, Heather.
Hi. On Frank as well. Is he joining us?
So he went away after I moved him in, but let's see.
Sometimes the webinar is something people aren't used to.
Yeah, if it's on their phone, it doesn't always work.
I love your background. It's real. Richard.
I know, Richard, it looks like one of those, it looks like a stock background because it's so beautiful.
It looks like an
you.
interior decorating magazine, actually.
Oh, you know how architects are.
Just keeping it simple. Chalkboard. So,
oh, Frank's joining in.
All right, here we are. I got booted off right at the time. So anyway.
Sorry
Hello.
about that. Hi. So fun fact, Richard came over to see us while we were on the call yesterday for the work project. So he was popping in, and Frank, thank you for joining us. I've known Frank through several career changes with the city. I remember going to Light Up Orlando and seeing Frank downtown in every corner, helping with all the cool projects. So tell us about your new role.
Okay, I didn't know if you were finished chatting. Well, let me just give a little bit of background. I've worked for the city for a long time, and fortunately, every position I've had with the city has been one that interfaces with the arts, which are so critical to downtown and our region. But I started working for the city when I was a young guy, moving here from Atlanta, and over the years, I've served as the city's permitting director, on the city's downtown development board director, the economic development director, and Mayor Dyer's chief of staff for the last 10 years. And I have a new exciting role, which is sort of the icing on the cake, and that is Mayor Dyer's director of placemaking and competitiveness. Now, you might say, well, what does that mean? It means that I get to spend all of my time focused on enhancing Orlando, making it a more exciting, memorable, fun place. And fortunately, there's lots of people here at City Hall that want to see that happen too. So we're all working to enhance Orlando. And you really can't do that, Barbara, without what?
Art.
That's right.
Art with change.
That's right.
So thank you for all you've done. And you've been part of our family at the Downtown Arts District since I can remember, starting with our friend Ford Keeney, who really brought a lot of enthusiasm and, ideas back in 2000. So I wanted you to kind of talk about your relationship with him and how important he is to the city and to us.
I would be delighted to do that. Okay, so this is a give-a-thon. I'm going to talk a little bit about someone who's had a life of a give-a-thon, and that is Ford Keeney. And we'll talk a little bit in detail about him in a second, but just a little history on the beautiful building that the Downtown Arts District is in. And both Heather and Richard are going to give all of the academic details, but a little bit of history. In the 1990s, when I was working for the Downtown Development Board, downtown was coming to life, but we had a problem building, and it was at the corner of Magnolia and Pine Street. A beautiful building, but it was one that was all boarded up and had been boarded up for decades. And that is the Rogers Building, the current home of the Downtown Arts District. We had a reporter from the New York Times come and do an article about the rebirth and growth of downtown Orlando. And I remember the reporter said, okay, of all the buildings in downtown Orlando that have the most potential that nothing is happening with now that you want to promote, what building would that be? We'll take a picture of it and we'll include that with the article. So I walked that reporter to the boarded up Rogers Building, and that picture ended up in the New York Times, and we thought that was going to generate some interest and somebody would buy the building, renovate it, and make it active, but that did not happen. And then in the late 1990s, by then I was the city's permitting director, a man moved to town from Seattle. His name is Ford Keeney. And everywhere I went, people go, he moved here to head up the Anheuser-Busch distributorship here, City Beverages. And every place I'd go, people go, have you met Ford Keeney? Have you met Ford Keeney? And it's like, no, I haven't met Ford, but I want to meet Ford Keeney. So one day I get a phone call from who? Ford Keeney. Ford was kicking around the tires and thinking about buying the Rogers Building. And I was happy to get that call. I don't think Ford knew what he was getting himself into, but he was interested in buying the building. Why? Because he supports the arts in so many ways and so many levels. Over the years, I've seen him help support individual artists, art events, the Downtown Arts District. Anything cultural, Ford Keeney has been there in this community for a long time. And that's just a slice of what he does. He's been involved in just about everything else in this community too. But anyway, he ended up buying the building. He hired an architect who unfortunately has passed away, but his name was Chalmers Yielding, who was one of the foremost historic preservation architects in Florida, who happened to live just a few blocks from here, from City Hall. And they rolled up their shirt sleeves and they started their work and drawing their plans up for the renovation of that building. Well, guess what? They ended up submitting their drawings and plans to the City of Orlando's permitting department. And a lot of modern day codes are really hard to retrofit into our historic building from the 1880s, I think. Is that right, Heather? 1880. So, it was one hardship, headache after another. On top of that, Ford did not want to cut any corners at all the way down to every plank of wood on the floor, everything had to be perfect. It was a labor of love for him. So anyway, we helped him through the permitting process. He got frustrated many times, but he persevered. Anybody else would have walked away from that project. Ford stuck with it, and the building finally opened. His dedication to the arts, did he go for the biggest rent he could get there? No, he went for the best use there. We all know that downtowns, we have to have culture and arts in a downtown, in a city and a region. That's what defines us and what brings us together. And especially right now with the many difficulties we're all facing because of the COVID pandemic, I'm convinced that the arts is bringing us together today in a shared kind of way, but will help us recover as well as time goes on. And Ford realized that kind of philosophy way back. And so instead of renting to a nightclub or an office use, there was a gallery on the ground floor, coffee shop, second floor theater. Mad Cow Theater was upstairs at one time, movies, and artist studios. So it was a labor of love for him. So over the years, Barbara and the Dad Gang have talked about their history, which has really been key to the success of downtown Orlando. But the Downtown Arts District, was located at Orange and Pine for a long time in partnership with the city. But what were we having to do every single month there?
Pay rent.
That's right. Paying rent, which one, that diverts money away from the core purpose, right? And two, when you're paying rent, you never know how long you're going to be able to pay rent there before you get booted out and move somewhere else. So we sort of had the challenge was, Dad's important to downtown. The Downtown Arts District is important. How do we ensure that they have a permanent place in downtown? We did not have the answer. One day, the phone rings. Who is it? That's Ford Keeney. And he goes, Frank, I'm thinking about donating the Rogers building to the city of Orlando. I was like, I almost hit my head on the ceiling, but I stayed seated. I went, Ford, that is great. And then Ford, do you think Mayor Dyer would be okay with that? And I said, okay, he would be, excited, over the moon on that. So anyway, I went and told the mayor that. He was very excited about that. And we felt wonderful about Ford's generosity. And then we started the process, which is somewhat complex. You have to have an agreement. It has to go to city council and all of that. Ford did not want anything except to ensure that we had a 0.0 for cultural arts in downtown Orlando forever. And by him giving this building, that allowed that to happen. It allowed the city of Orlando to work with Dad to figure out how Dad could have a permanent home in the core of our downtown. And we worked together to move the Downtown Arts District to the current beautiful building that is currently the home, which you'll hear a little bit more about it. Ford didn't want anything in this process. He wanted to be behind the scene. So he did have conditions that would be used for the cultural arts, right? So I added another condition in there that he balked at, but the condition was that from this day forward, it would be called the Rogers Keeney building. And so I'm really glad that we did that. And he sort of warmed up to that, but he didn't really want any recognition at all. He just wanted to do what was right. And, every city, including Orlando, needs more people like him in the community. We're blessed that he was a give-a-thon person, and we all can't afford to give buildings to the cause, but we all can afford to contribute something to the cause. And I hope that the next 24 hours rakes in some good resources and new partners for the Downtown Arts District, because the Rogers Keeney building is the heartbeat of downtown. When people come to downtown Orlando, where can we see what we can? Yes, Lake Eola, you got to go to the Downtown Arts District building too. It's so important to who we are as a community, bringing us together as a community. Thomas talked earlier about how the arts really have the effect of growing a community from an economic development standpoint. Companies move here, people invest in properties, developers come here, people make decisions to move to Orlando when they see a vibrant arts community. And that's what Dad helps deliver for us, each and every one of us in the community. And I hope everybody here will continue to participate and send some cash their way. So I think we're going to hear a little bit of details about the building from Heather and Richard as well, right?
Before we go to that, I just wanted to thank you so much. And I also wanted to say, one of the opening events, the 12 by 12 show that Ford did after he renovated, was one of the first events I came to in downtown. And I fell in love with the art scene, and really wanted from that point on to be involved. So I've got a little piece here. I'm going to show the second one from that 12 by 12. You might remember this. This is the artist Robert Shetterly.
Yes.
Up Paris. He sold tons of pieces. Each piece was $200. I think it was a sold out show. Well, we brought that tradition back when we moved back into this building of doing the 12 by 12 art show. And we're just really encouraged by the growth of our local artists. You know, without this building, there wouldn't be a lot of spaces for artists to show and to grow their careers. So now we have 5 galleries, plus we have 2 studios, the outside apartments that are being managed by artists. So we have Red Tape, they're getting ready to open Color Me Places. So it's just becoming more vibrant, and after COVID, we're hoping to continue to build on that. So again, thank you. And we have the Courtyard Project.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really important to the Downtown Arts District, but it's really important to downtown too. And that's the courtyard adjacent to the building, which is really a slab of concrete. And occasionally you see some cars there. Barbara and her team have really made that place special for some special events, but the Arts District is looking to make that a permanent improvement, which will create an outdoor arts living room for our community. And then I would like to take that a step further. The alleyway behind the Downtown Arts District, if you stand back there today and look at it, doesn't look too good, but it could become an arts alley that actually would connect the Rogers Keeney building to Central Boulevard and the front door of the public library. So you could have traffic going back and forth and create another outdoor living room and art space for the people that experience our city. So those are 2 very worthwhile and important projects for the Downtown Arts District, but also for downtown.
Absolutely. And I wish that we already had it. You know, during COVID, it would have been so nice to have it all built out already. We've been doing some outdoor events when the weather is cooperative. So in between series with Timucua Arts Foundation, we had at our last event almost 50 people in the courtyard alleyway. You know, but it is so important to have those spaces for people to enjoy outdoors.
And you have the design in place of some of the materials as well. You just need a sponsor to help make that happen. Is that right?
Yes, we raised the match, and then unfortunately with COVID, some of that money went away. The county will not be doing facility grants for at least 2 years. So we applied to the state. This is a rendering, if you can see it. I don't know how well you can see it. There you go. You see it okay?
There's our courtyard.
And the piece up top would be from the Church Street building, the arch. So we were going to reuse some historic material from that project and some of the bricks. So we're hoping to break ground as soon as we can get the funding. So our ideal goal would be this summer. But if that doesn't happen, we'll just keep raising the money until we can do it.
So that would give you a lot more flexibility in terms of programming. You could probably earn some revenue off of that too, in terms of that space. And then that alleyway that will connect to the public library, I always think about kids that are going in and out of the library, the busiest public library in Florida, 3,000 people a day pre-COVID were visiting there. You know, right across the street, they would have a direct access through an arts environment, celebrating the arts and getting to the Rogers Keeney building. And you don't know what kind of sparks are going to fly in kids. In terms of, we heard Thomas, he, you know, as a kid, he heard a little bit about music, and so you never know what is going to come out of creating spaces and places like that and experiences.
So much of it starts from our, you know, our role models, right? So my dad took us to theater. I grew up here in Central Florida. I went to Lake Brantley, and I was involved in the art classes, but he also took us to the theater at UCF. And to the theater, there was no Shakespeare at the time, you know.
Yeah.
I encourage us to appreciate the arts and to get involved. So thank you. We wouldn't do it without these partnerships, and a lot of people don't realize that the public partnerships with buildings and arts institutions is so important to funding. I think we saw, like, if you own your own building, sometimes you're not eligible to get the funding from state and federal grants. So that really is important to have that partnership and collaboration. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate the work that all artists in our community perform and contribute, and really appreciate the Downtown Arts District and the work that you do, making us a vibrant place and a place worth visiting and a place worth living in. So thank you for that.
Thanks for being with us.
Yes.
Do you introduce Richard and Heather? So are they on your team, or how does the historic?
Well, we're on one big team under Mayor Dyer here at City Hall. So we work together. I come knocking on their door more than they come knocking on mine, but we share a common interest in history. So we all work together here.
Yes. Frank collects postcards, and he's always sharing his historic postcards with us. So it's always exciting when he brings those down to us, and sometimes
yeah, I think I have about 5,000 Orlando historic postcards at this point, including the Rogers building.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and Richard, tell everybody about your role and your official title.
Well, my official title today is the Appearance Review Official, but for 14 years, I served as the Historic Preservation Officer, which is the role that Heather is now in. I'm an architect by training, and specifically trained in a lot of urban design and historic preservation from many years ago. I've been at this city. I just got my 15-year pin a couple of months ago, and
I don't see it on your jacket there.
it's still at work, and I'm at home. But that's my story, and currently now Heather and I are both working in the community planning studio of the planning department, which is under economic development, and the community planning studio has all the urban design and community planning type of affairs that go on, including historic preservation. So that's how Heather and I work together, and we overlap all the time. The appearance review official is mainly concerned with the appearance review board, and Heather handles the historic preservation board. But as you know, those districts all overlap and are all part of our vibrant downtown. So we spend a lot of time together.
And you do a historic walking tour that I'm sure you'll share some details on as well.
Yes, the Rogers building is a part of our downtown walking tour. Unfortunately, those are on hold right now, but we used to give them monthly on the first Friday of the month. And it features probably about 25 to 30 structures in our downtown historic district. And it's something we look forward to bringing back once the COVID pandemic goes away.
Well, thank you. I've been on it. I love it. Until you experience it yourself, you don't realize, how much history you can get even from the architecture in the buildings, right? So the Crest building and the time frames and what was the different usage over time. The Rogers Keeney building is on the National Historic Registration, and it is the oldest commercial building in downtown. And I know you guys have a lot of details that you're going to share with us.
Yes, I will say on the walking tour, if you ever saw me walking by, you always flagged us to come in, and that was always like a highlight to people that they actually got to go inside one of these historic structures. So I always appreciate you letting us walk through and being able to show people the inside of the structure as well.
Yeah, and the tours are great because you really get to learn like feet on the street kind of thing. And I know I did that tour, gave those tours for how many years, I lost count. Heather does them now, but I even would see new things and realize something new about a building on every tour, because when you're with a different group of people, they ask different questions, and then you see it through a whole different set of eyes. So it's great to go on the tours multiple times. I've over the years, we had many people that had been on the tours, like, annually.
So how can people keep tabs on when those tours resume, and how long is the tour, and where do people meet? And do you have to make a reservation?
We do meet at the Downtown Info Center there on Orange Avenue and Church Street. They do our reservations for us. The historic preservation calendar that comes out each year, which is our other big outreach program, has the phone number and everything in it. And I'm sure our website will be updated to reflect once we resume those tours. And
you have a virtual tour right now?
There is a virtual tour on YouTube that features about 5 structures downtown. I'll be happy to share that link.
Yeah, please share it in the conversation on social media so everyone can join in as they have time.
Heather, is it the downtown website or historic preservation website that we can direct people to?
We do have a historic preservation website through orlando.gov. You can connect right to our historic preservation page through there as well.
Yay.
Yep. Well, I do have a PowerPoint if you'd like me to share the screen, because I think history is more fascinating with visuals.
And before
Right.
I do that, I want to say it's been a pleasure working with both of you. So during the transition of moving CityArts to the Rogers Keeney building, we had to get a lot of approvals. And for all the artists out there that always want to have murals in downtown, these are 2 of the faces that you'll meet with or have to get permissions from, especially with historic buildings, right? So there's historic preservation, and then what's the other board review?
Well, the appearance review board.
So that's what you're doing currently. We're actually in the process of doing a temporary mural on the Harp and Celt building, which is a historic building. So we had to go through that process. The artist is Jonathan Stemberger, and it was actually funded by a gift from the Avrio Foundation, which is run by the DOP, the Downtown Orlando Partnership. So if you're downtown, check it out. And thank you guys for helping with that process.
Yes, and I look forward to working with you for the alleyway. It'll be a great project.
Absolutely.
So Heather, I think I was able to give you co-host privileges, so I think you're able to share your screen whenever you're ready.
Right. So Heather and I are going to kind of do a back and forth. So Heather is going to start, and then I'm going to jump in periodically.
Perfect.
As Richard mentioned, his background is in architecture, and he's a wonderful architectural historian. And my background is in history and historic research. So we're actually going to merge our 2 principles into this program today. This building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is a historic Orlando landmark, as well as being a contributing structure in the downtown local historic district, a triple threat, if you will, making it one of the most important structures in Orlando, both historically and architecturally. The building's origins and namesake are from an English settler named Gordon Rogers. In the 1880s, a group of Englishmen known as the English Colony immigrated to the Conway area. They came to try their hand in the citrus industry, as the state promoted that you could get an annual income of at least $10,000 for growing citrus. However, enjoying Florida's weather more for sport is what they were into. And that included polo, sport hunting, tennis, bicycle riding. And Rogers built this structure to be a social club for the English colony, where they enjoyed some indoor games such as bowling.
Right, so it's an interesting building. As you know, you don't see many like this. It's in the Victorian era. It was built in the Victorian era, and it's in the Queen Anne revival style. And another building that we have from the Victorian era is also downtown from a few years later, and that's the train station. And one of the features of Victorian architecture is often a turret, and you can see that the train station has a turret that was for one use, and the Rogers building has a turret that was more decorative. But it's an interesting building because we don't really have this type or this decorative of a Queen Anne revival building much in Florida at all, and especially in Orlando. If we had had some Queen Anne houses that would have rivaled this in terms of their decoration, they probably would have been houses that would have been on Orange Avenue or Magnolia, really close to downtown because the downtown was so small. And as Orlando grew, we lost all of those residential houses that would have been, right along with this one. I think if we go to the next slide, Heather, and I'll let you go on a little bit more about the history of it.
Well, throughout this presentation, we'll be using some maps, city directories, and photos to tell the story of the building's use and history. This is an image from the 1887 Sanborn map. It shows the location of where the building is located today. Note, Main Street was the original name of Magnolia. The area consisted of wood buildings, including a print shop, boarding houses, and shanties. You can see the Rogers building was not included in this Sanborn, though the given date of the building is 1886. Therefore, it should have been included in the 1887 map. This is likely because the area was surveyed just prior to construction. We know from other records, including letters and land plats, that Gordon Rogers arrived in Marion County, Florida in 1883 and Orlando in 1886. April of that year, he purchased this site from Martha, William, and Callie McCall for $1,000. On November 11th, 1886, Rogers purchased the adjacent parcel from R.R. and Mary C. Reed, and likely broke ground around that time, and construction took place into 1887. The next Sanborn map, published in 1892, shows the outline of the building and notes that it was concrete veneered.
And that's an important thing that we're going to talk a lot about coming up, because right now when you look at the building, it has that amazing metal facade on it. And that's what's important about these Sanborn maps, is the early ones especially, they were created for the insurance industry, and they told you everything about a building that you needed to know in order to write a policy on a building and insure it. So you generally get the height, you get the number of stories, you get the construction material, and all those details that would figure into writing a insurance policy on a building.
It's around that time that we have the first picture of the site, which is labeled 1890. You can see that the metal panels that this site is known for have not yet been installed. You can also clearly see the use of the building as a billiards establishment. The awning on the back led to stairs to the Cosmopolitan Club, which was an English club located on the second floor. The club sponsored dances, theater, and other events. Here's a wonderful hand-drawn map of Orlando streets in 1890. It includes some insets of special structures. You can see the train station here. The Rogers building is here. There's also some ads along the side, so you can see what people in Orlando were interested in at that time and what the prominent businesses were. Here's a few insets here. You can see the location of the Rogers building. There's an ad for Rogers and Martin's Cosmopolitan Club and Saloon. And here's a close-up of the hand drawing of the Cosmopolitan Club here. And the structure still shows it without the cladding. So it's consistent with the 1892 Sanborn map, which showed that, that it was a concrete veneered. The next Sanborn map is from 1897. The building appears to have some vacancies here in the northern section and in the back. It's labeled as office and sleeping rooms. It has a number 2 indicating that those were located on the second floor, which they may have been boarding rooms. We know that there were some harsh winters in 1894 and 1895 that killed a lot of the citrus groves, and that forced many of the English patrons back to England. There's a report at least 200 families moved back to England or Australia and even New Zealand after this harsh winters froze all the citrus. And that made the Rogers building have to convert to new uses. We can see an outline indicating an iron front, which means that cladding was probably put in around this time. So we know that the panels were probably installed prior to 1897.
Yeah, so that's an interesting, you see a lot, if you go back to that first slide, I just want to point something out, Heather. You can see on the top, it says front and sides on perforated iron strips. This is very important. During this time frame, you know, many cities had experienced fires, and Orlando was no exception. Some years earlier, a good portion of the city across the street from where the Rogers building would go burned. After that point, downtown cores had to have fireproof or fire-resistant buildings, which is why the building directly across the street from the Rogers building is that big brick 3-story building that replaced a wooden building, which was where one of the bad fires started. So this building, while it is structurally a combination of steel or iron and wood, they also went to a lot of trouble to try and fireproof this building. And one of the things they did was using this new technology called perforated iron strips for their interior or exterior and interior walls. And that is what the plaster was put on, rather than the old way of putting the plaster on the wooden lath, which, you know, you see if you see a building taken apart, you see the old wooden lath and the plaster is put on wood. In this case, it was put on iron. So if you go to that next slide, we'll get into some of those details. So in addition to that work that's pretty much on the interior in terms of the plaster and iron, the building got these beautiful metal panels put on it early on. And, you know, it was a way to make decoration, but it was also a way to increase the fire resistive qualities of this building. So these pressed metal panels are most likely pressed from zinc because they've held up so well. They wouldn't have been a cheaper tin or something that would have rusted. So it's a very interesting product. We don't see much of this in Florida. You see it sometimes in other parts of the country. Oftentimes when you look at a Victorian era building in a commercial center, you'll look up at the top and you'll see a beautiful cornice line with all the details. And you think, oh, that's painted wood, or it's stucco, or painted plaster, or it's maybe stone that's carved. Actually, a lot of times it's this lightweight metal that's been painted because you could get this decoration. When you think about this kind of decoration, you can imagine if you were paying artisans to chisel out every little pattern in hard plaster, or carve it in wood, or carve it in stone, which is what a lot of buildings were. It was kind of crazy, crazy price. So if you go to the next slide. So there were companies in the United States that were making all these different things. And if you look at the north face of the Rogers Keeney building, you can see it's all metal, but it's made to look like stone, like carved stone. And so we do see this particular product in Florida on occasion. And there were some different companies that were making it. The company that's still in business is one called W.F. Norman. And you can see that this is a picture I took yesterday of the Rogers building's north siding. And then on the right, you'll see what W.F. Norman still sells today. Now, obviously, you know, W.F. Norman's the only one making these things today, but back in the 1880s and 90s, there were a lot of different companies that were making these products. However, when you look at catalogs and you look at the other parts of the building where it has all that incredibly ornate designs, You don't find that in any of the catalogs, and that was noted in the Florida Master Site file that's why they believe it came from a company in England, because we didn't have those particular styles. Here, if you go to the next slide, Heather. So you can see all the wonderful, rich detail on the building. This combination of just simple, the infill between the windows is partially just a horizontal corrugated metal, but it gives a great texture. But then the surrounds around the windows and all the other details are just marvelous florid, either neoclassical designs or floral designs. And you can see on the other thing, this W.F. Norman Corporation was making all these types of products. Now, this is just one page out of their catalog, which you can still order from them today, but they have a whole range of products that would be very similar, but not quite exactly like what's on the Rogers building. Go to the next one. So I mentioned those perforated iron strips. So this is on the inside of the building. And when Chalmers Yielding redid the building, they were very careful. They found this area that's between what was the original rectangle of the oldest part of the building. And then there had been an addition to it quite soon after it was built when you look at the Sanborn maps. And so this is from what would have been the outside of the building, which is now the inside of the cafe area. And this, you can go and see this today when you're in the building. It's fascinating to see. This is a great example of how they would have built this building. So you can see that the plaster, which is what was forming the hard, skin of the building, is instead of being on wood pieces, it's on these iron sort of peg-like looking sawtoothed, or whatever you want to call that, metal that's been attached to the interior frame of the building. And that was thought to be a much better fire retardant than having just plaster on the lath. And it's interesting when you go in here, you go into the cafe and you look, you'll see that there had been a stair going up in this area, and you can see all the different materials that had been put onto that building over the years. And it was a genius thing of Ford and Chalmers to leave this as exposed to show exactly how that building would have been put together over the years. Next.
Is the 19.
So I'll let you go on now about the various tenants and stuff.
Sure. This is the 1903 Sanborn map. The use appears the same for the second story with those offices and sleeping units as it did in 1897. Also note here that the Sentinel printing storage is next door, which in 1908, the Sentinel is now occupying Rogers building, and the former space is left vacant. So they moved on over here. This is the next earliest photo we have of the Rogers building. You can see there have been some changes, including the metal siding has been installed and detailing has changed. Dates of this photo have been labeled from 1895 to 1920. But we know based on the Sanborn maps, this was taken after 1892, as the Sanborn labeled the building as having a concrete exterior. And a closer look, the picture shows at this time the structure was now a printing establishment. And another resource we use to help tell a building's story are city directories, which are kind of like phone books. These entries help us complete the name of the printing shop owner. You can see here, it could look like an E or F, but when we look in the city directory, we can find him here. And we find that it was Hudson and Ferris there at the corner of East Pine Street and South Main, which is this location. And the phone number is listed as 24, and you can see that right here in the window. So it matches. So we can find out who is the proprietor of the building and what was there using the city directory. So we could say that this picture was at least before 1909, given that it's just Hudson's name on here. In 1912, these are from the 1912 city directory. You can see that Hudson is still listed as a publisher. But he's no longer with Ferris or the Sentinel. The Sentinel is now only owned by Josiah Ferris, and he had a big old ad in the city directory towards the back. The address for the Sentinel is not listed, but it appears that he's moved out of the building. We learned through some newspapers that Josiah Ferris was one of the most respected newspaper publishers and had been involved in Orlando newspapers from his arrival in 1887 all the way to his death in 1939. He was the first to use a press run by electricity, and in 1913 joined the International News Service to obtain national and foreign news via telegraph. In February 1913, Ferris launched the Daily Sentinel, the first daily paper in Orlando, which is an important fact because the next Sanborn map, which was published in 1913, indicates, it doesn't show that the Sentinel's there, so he's obviously moved. And it shows some furnished rooms on the second floor again, which is addressed at 105 Pine. The northern portion is labeled as vulcanizing, which included tire rotations and other auto maintenance. In the 1919, the map shows that the tire shop continued to occupy the northern section of the structure, and an underground gas tank is labeled. Furnished rooms continue to occupy the second story, and offices are labeled for the first floor.
I just wanted to point out again, we're talking about insurance here. So things like a gas tank underground, and it would, if you look at the big picture of the Sanborn maps, it will show you how far the nearest water fire line is, and all those kinds of things that would factor into writing an insurance policy on a building.
The 1925 Sanborn has been updated several times. Between publishing, they would draw and cut out and glue different layers to show the revision. So you can see you can see the ghosting of a building here that was gone by the time they got to the next publication of the Sanborn map, which was 1956. You could see about 5 layers of revisions that they put here. When I held this page up to the light, it seemed to say businesses. You can barely see it right under here. So in 1925, the original copy, I believe, said businesses. And then by the time they got to this layer here, which was probably in the late 1950s, before the 1956 Sanborn came out, you had several different shops or stores and a restaurant here on the corner. And we know throughout the 20s and 30s, using the city directories, that the second story was used for community groups, including the First Spiritualist Church, the Woodworkers Alliance, Brick and Masons Plasterers, Modern Woodmen of the World, and a Ginny Mills beauty shop was also located here. Here's that 1956 map. So it's kind of similar to what we just saw on the last page. So you can tell that they updated it right up to the point the new book was published. And going through the city directories again, we can see that there were stores and restaurants. In 1958, Corner Kitchen opened up downstairs. Upstairs, the Arthur Murray School of Dancing opened in 1951, and other restaurants were owned by various people, including a Harry Hoffman, and that was one of the most successful restaurants there, and he sold full meals for 65 cents. In the 1970s, W.D. Driggers bought Taylor's Corner Kitchen, renovated it and renamed it J&J Restaurant after his daughters.
So that's interesting that if you stay on that slide for just a second, Heather, there's a, interestingly enough, by 1956, the Sanborn Corporation had come up with a color coding system, which is why you no longer see the iron facade mentioned. That gray and the different two colors together. There's a chart at the beginning of each Sanborn map that shows what all the different colors and combinations of colors mean.
Real quick, Heather, I know we talked about having questions from the audience, but some have already come in, and I just wanted to know, someone wants to know about the stairs in our building. Is it true that there were separate stairs for women? Do you know that?
Oh, that now, what they're talking about, you know, when you come into the what is now the cafe, that part of the building was added, and there was a separate stair. That's what you can see in that photo that I had that has the cutaway of the building. You can see where the stairs were. So that door that goes into the cafe area would have gone straight up to stairs to the second floor of that part of the building. Of course, it was rearranged over the years, and those where the stairs had been was found when they started ripping the interior walls out. I don't know that they would have had separate stairs for men and women in this. I doubt that in here in this town. I don't think so. But there were two sets of stairs. There was a set of stairs that goes up from Pine Street over on the side of the building where kind of at the 109 number. And then of course the stairs that are interior to the building. And then of course, when the renovations were done by Ford, they had to add additional stairway to the rear along with the elevator that you see there. But hopefully that answers their question.
Yeah, I don't know who started the rumor, but that's not my first time hearing about
I heard
that.
it too, because the Gentlemen's Club, was it the Cosmopolitan? Was that maybe part of that rumor?
Well, it could have been there was that separate stair going off of Pine Street that went straight up to the club level. So, you know, maybe that was more of that to go to the club, you had to go up those sets of stairs, and maybe that was restricted entrance. I'm not quite sure, or how that would have worked. And that might be a more sociological question for someone.
We're gonna have a ghost tour later in the wee hours. So some people say they see a man with a top hat in the building. None of us have seen or heard any of these ghosts, but allegedly they are here. And I know Ford has also at one point had a, what do you call them? The paranormal, yeah.
Yeah, I have seen an interior photograph of them bowling, and there are men and women in that picture. So you know, this being Victorian English people, there could have been some tea room for the ladies to retire off to, but the one picture that we do have of the interior with people in it does show them all mingling and socialing together.
Awesome, thank you so much.
This picture shows the large neon Arthur Murray dance sign and shows other tenants, including a florist and the Bador's restaurant. Arthur Murray offered social dance lessons, such as ballroom. He retired in 1964 and sold the company to a group of business associates, and the Orlando studio closed a year later. J&J Restaurant was sold to Frank Serrano, and Serrano's restaurant was called the Landmark Restaurant, as the building was designated as a local Orlando landmark in 1978. Became a popular spot for jurors from the courthouse, notably the Ted Bundy trial. Mr. Serrano passed away in 1983, and his widow closed the restaurant when the lease expired, ending this building's use as a restaurant. After other tenants moved out and the restaurant closed in the 1980s, the last tenant that remained for some time was Kuehler's Locksmith and was the sole tenant into the 1990s. And you can see as the rest of the building boarded up, his space remained occupied. And by the 1990s.
All right, so that leads us to the renovation, which I'll talk about. Oh, right, go on. You had one more thing, Heather.
Oh, I was just going to say, by the 1990s, the structure was in need of maintenance and a renovation. If Richard wants to go into that.
Right. Sorry, sometimes there's that ever so slight lag between who's speaking. So this is when Ford got a hold of the building and he has started some of the work. As Frank mentioned earlier, there's so much work to do on this. So this is a renovation in progress. I'll go through these quickly. One thing to note is that the windows, and you'll see it in this picture, the windows had been replaced probably in the 1950s with aluminum awning windows that didn't match at all. And the windows down below on the first floor had been walled over. Okay, go on to the next one. So this was what the interior looked like as he was getting rolling on his restoration. He opened it back up, got rid of any walls. You see the old iron posts have been exposed, and you see the beautiful stained glass. Go on to the next one. So this then, of course, when to take it to the next level now, this was a little bit of work that had to be done for the Downtown Arts District group to move in. And so this was that renovation that we did just not too long ago. Go on to the next. So this is interesting. This is upstairs in what had been the big room, which became Arthur Murray's and where the Cosmopolitan Club had been earlier. This is very interesting that they used a kind of a combination structural system so that they wouldn't have to have posts so that you could dance, right, and have movies and do things. And that you can see that steel and wood structure up above. Go on. And then this is what that gallery looked like when Ford opened the building in 1999, and it looks pretty much like that today. Go ahead to the next one, Heather. I know we're getting close on time. So here is the picture of it after Ford completed his renovation. You can see that all the windows, those are historic wood windows that are not historic, but they're based on the historic wood windows. Every one of them was custom made for this, and obviously very well made because they're still in excellent condition today. You can see how they restored and got all the paint layers off of the zinc decorative panels. Color-wise, this was the color that they chose after some back and forth. Ford liked to tell the story about how he found a color that he believed was the original color that was a much, much brighter green. And at the time, there was a little bit of a disagreement with the Historic Preservation Board as to how bright a color that they would accept. And anyway, this is a good color. This is a very Victorian color scheme that I think Chalmers probably guided Ford towards, and it's been this color ever since. Go on to the next one. We mentioned that he had to add stairs and an elevator in the back. And I just wanted to mention that the sensitivity, they used this metal corrugated cladding on the back of the building, which is, still so similar to all the metals on the other parts of the building. Go on. There. So I didn't want to take up too much time just in case somebody had a question or two. I know we're nearly at our cutoff time.
Oh, thank you both so much for that history lesson about the building. I didn't know that there was an alleyway between the two apartments, or it so appeared to be in the Sanborn maps. Was that the case?
Yeah. Yes, well, the building had been expanded a couple of times early on. So when Heather showed that really early Sanborn map, it still showed an exterior stair that was between the two little bump outs that had been added onto the building, and then that got smoothed out over the years and added onto so that there were no longer any exterior stairs, and it was all one space.
And I also noticed a difference in address, those side addresses. Now we have 101 and 103 for the apartments. And then the main address is on Magnolia's side.
Magnolia.
39 and 37. And we still have to deal with the insurance people, but I don't think they look at the Sanborn map anymore.
They might.
They send an inspector out.
Yeah, they tend to inspect personally now rather than trusting a map system to do that. But it is interesting to think that all over the country there were Sanborn maps for every community, and was the industry standard.
Yeah, that was a great lesson.
It's worth noting that the building that the Downtown Arts District is in is a work of art itself with many, many different layers. And
wasn't it the visitor center at one time? Like I thought I saw a postcard that you sent.
oh, I don't know about that. I don't recall that.
A visitor center. Did I make that up?
Well, it definitely is now because every visitor needs to go there. So.
There you go.
Well, we have reached our 2 o'clock, but yes, I wanted to just, piggyback on what Frank said. We are very proud to be in this building, and we do always make it a point when it's a new visitor to explain that they are truly in a space that is special to our community. And we love taking them over to the history wall and talking about it and showing the stairs that Richard came and took photos of yesterday. It's pretty cool. But I do have one quick question from the audience. It's more of a technical question, but it's pretty funny. It's Jim Hobart with Macbeth Photo.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, Macbeth Studio. He wants to know how you do the laser pointer, Heather. During the it's funny, but he wants to know that.
If he's using PowerPoint and he goes to the presentation mode, on the left lower corner, you've got an opportunity to use a laser pointer or a pen if you want to draw on it. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Let's just say one last thing, and I think it's a good time to pause to thank Forward collectively and recognize him as a giver. I mean, this is about giving to the Downtown Arts District. Forward really sets the bar and the example for all of us. So thank you, Forward.
Yes, thank you so much, Ford.
We love you, Ford.
We appreciate it so much. Well, thank you all again, and we are going to move on to our next presentation. So thank you for joining. And this is recorded, so I'm going to make it its own video because we've already had a lot of people request, like, can you show this again? Because this is incredible information.
Great,
so
we
will do that.
That's great.
Great.
Yes.
It was
Great.
a joy to share with you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So what is happening now?
We have more donors. So if you are wanting to make a donation, text DAD to
71777. Oh my gosh, we've had so many new donors, and so we're so excited. But technology is a confusing thing, and so we are actually going to go straight into our next Zoom live session. So we're going to say goodbye to this live streaming right now, and I'm going to re-stream back onto Downtown Arts District and City Arts. Fun fact, if any of you want to do a 24-hour event, Facebook Live only does 8-hour increments, so we had to break it up into different things. So we will come back and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Let's thank some of our donors.
Oh, sure.
Sure. So we have Terry Olson donated $100. Thomas Chapman, thank you, $50. Carol Burkett with the county, thank you for a $50 donation. And Lindsay Winter donated $20.
Woo, woo, woo.
And this is Kat.
Bye.
Everyone gets a drawing from our intern, an original piece. So we'll be sending those out in the mail. Thank you all.
We'll see you in like 2 minutes.